Hopefully I've helped you make an educated purchase with this video. I can't wait to be the main culprit for buyer's remorse. Well, that didn't age well. I awoke this morning to some horrible news. Besides having to take my sister to the ER because of food poisoning, on November 7th of this year, online services for Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and Battlefield Hardline will shut down for Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Yeah, sorry for the heart attack, but as of right now, there is no talks about shutting down the online services for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC versions of these games. But knowing EA is not a question of if, but when. It doesn't matter how loved these games are, or how big the player base is. If a studio says it's time for a game, then it's time, regardless of age. Gone but never forgotten. So what happens now? Well, the only thing you can do is just keep playing the games on these consoles while you still can, if you have any memories associated with these versions. Of course, if you're going to play these games today, I'm going to recommend you play the games on current gen consoles. Hell, even these fossils will still do the job for the most part. Only thing you would have to worry about would be Battlefield 3, since it was exclusively released on those old consoles. But even then, I will still recommend you to play that game on PC, as you get the full 64-player experience there with all the things that got cut out of the console release due to hardware limitations. Battlefield 4 and Hardline, luckily enough, are titles that are the same across all releases, so that's great. But as this goes to show, as the passage of time continues to flow for these titles, we are now left wondering when it's time for these games to finally just get the plug pulled by EA. As much as we like to think these titles are recent, but newsflash, they're not. Battlefield 3 is 13 years old now. Battlefield 4 turned 10 years last year. And Hardline is about to be 9 in November. These are now old games that have seen their time in the spotlight. Now, realistically speaking, I don't think EA would be that fucking stupid to just pull the plug on these titles, Battlefield 4 in particular, anytime soon, but I've been wrong before. I personally think we still have another 5 to 6 years with these titles, with the first one kicking the bucket most likely being Hardline, but of course, that would be the smart thing to do. And the smarter thing to do is just turn off all official servers and let people run their own servers instead of shutting off all online services. But with 1943 and Bad Company games being taken off last year, I don't think that would be the case. This announcement this morning came as a reminder that nothing lasts forever. No matter how big something is, it all has 2 expiration dates. The first one is how long it stays relevant in the people's mind, an expiration date that, in my opinion, grows shorter and shorter as the years go by. And the other being the technical expiration date of when a game is finally put to rest. The day an online game dies is when the plug gets pulled. Of course, all of this is done as a business move. Yes, games if done well will go on to sell millions and be the star child for a publisher or studio, opening the way for a publisher to get even more money by injecting new ways of spending money after the original purchase was made. But all of that doesn't matter if no one is actively playing it. Sure, there may be around 200 to 300 players actively playing it, those dedicated players that are still willing to stick by the game, with an additional 100 players or so who go back to the game for about a week to record footage and then return in another year. But these numbers are usually nothing to what the player count was like when the games were at their peak. Servers cost money to stay up, and if in the eyes of publishers no one is playing the game, then why bother paying the cost to keep those servers up? Sure, there's going to be an uproar because you could have easily done it in a way that gave those the most dedicated the tools to host their own servers, but the vocal majority of those outrage are going to be people who played it back in the day and haven't touched the game in the past 5 years. Mad that they won't ever go back to the game they said they would, and never actually, because it's easier to say something than actually doing it. So what I would tell people right now is just enjoy these games while they're still here. We all know there's a time limit for these experiences, and once the game is gone, all that's left are just experiences we had back in the day, as we view them with our rose-tinted glasses. I know for millions that a thought of a game like Fortnite just dying is preposterous, but it too has a time limit, just like every live service or online shooter out there. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's a slow, gradual death, whether it be due to interest of the times changing or the game just running its course. There's several titles out there that I'm fearful of the service just going down, because typically these games offer something that no other title can come close to replicating. No matter what comes out, there just won't be a game that can perfectly replicate what it feels like to be ripped out of your mech in a bullshit manner like in Titanfall 2. Fucking around with your friends in the streets of Liberty City or Los Santos. Or in this case, the perfect balance of arcadey and milsim blend of Battlefield's combined arms play. That's the rockets! With the addition of these 3 games, there is now a total of 13 Battlefield games that have now become abandonware, with 6 of them meeting their graves as of last year. Of course, for a majority of these titles that aren't console locked, there are active efforts to bring back online playability. Stuff like Project Rome for Bad Company 2.
Got him.
And Project Reclamation for 2142.
Beacon is now active. Enemy infantry spotted.
I got him.
2142 enjoyers, rise up. These allow you to play titles that are now considered abandonware by the community. Games that currently have no official means to purchasing or playing online. But of course, these efforts shouldn't be necessary if these companies would actually listen to us, since listening to the fans would be an easy way to gain easy money. What I would hope in the future is for EA to be releasing something similar to the Master Chief Collection, allow new players to experience games that define the generation of players. Of course, people would argue whether or not these titles should be in a collection or just get the remaster/remake treatment, and for titles like Battlefield 2 and 2142, I would love to see these games get the remake treatment, but I would also love to just play the original versions of these games with online multiplayer turned on. Sort of like the selling point for the most recent Battlefront collection.
Fight, drive, and pilot your way through unforgettable Star Wars moments in massive 64-player online battles.
Watch those wrist rockets!
But that would require effort, and EA can't afford that, because EA is in the business of maximizing profits while minimizing spending and funding into said projects, expecting the same returns with little effort. So all of this will stay as a fever dream for many, for the meantime. So all you can really do right now is get your last couple of games on these titles if you own them on the old consoles. And as for the rest of us, scared these will go away soon on modern consoles and PC, just spend your time playing the game and appreciate the time we still have with them. Everything has an expiration date, so appreciate the experience while it's still there, because sooner or later, all that will be left are the memories we had of the great times that was once had.
Have mics?
Bro, this still isn't shut down. Anybody know when
Yeah.
they're taking it all down?
Do I know when they're doing it?
Yeah, I have a mic.
Yeah.
Alright, nice. Yeah, we're supposed to shut it down 30 minutes ago, but
Really?
it looks like the servers are still running though. What's gonna probably happen